What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Post Trail Rundown, my random running podcast that I decided to make for everyone. I believe we're on episode 3, and today, more than anything, I wanted to get out and started to work speed, and more than speed, I guess, would be the consistency to stay through the run during some hills. So there's an awesome trail out by me that allows me to warm up for a mile, and then it's about a mile climb through small switchbacks, weaving and turning and going up and up and up. In the past, when I was training for the 50K, or for the 50, was it a 50K? Yeah, the 50K, I worked that hill a bunch, and I was clearing it and making it to the top, and it's pretty tough. Like, it's a mile climb the whole way, so there's not a lot of breaks. You're zone 3, zone 4 pretty much the whole time, and I tried it not too long ago, and I got to the top, but I was like, man, I need to pause for a second, come out of zone 4, and then continue the run. So today I was like, nope, we're gonna see how far we can make it up and continue to go until we can't. So the run was super cool. I was able to clear that, hit a downhill, post uphill, and cruise down that bad boy, and that was freaking fun. You guys know, if you run, the downhills are pretty fun. They're sketch, it's super technical, tons of switchbacks, small single track, loose gravel and rocks everywhere. So it is very risky, but without risk, there's no true fun reward. So again, something that's experienced out there when you're crushing gravel under those feet. So as I was clearing, Stella, I'm getting through these hills and I'm running, and it's a ton of fun, right? Because I love trail running, and the guys that are watching this and gals probably like trail running too, or you wouldn't be listening to these podcasts. So for the most part, we get through, and I wanted this to be a 1 hour, 60-minute, right? A 60-minute activity. And so today we cleared 6.32 miles in 1 hour at a pace of 9:29, which was pretty decent for what I was after. I wasn't really after too much more than getting through without stopping. And obviously my pace was not 9:30 on the way up that whole mountain, but the downhill stuff definitely helped, and then the consistent flat stuff for sure helped to maintain a good pace. And so at a pace of 9:29, my average heart rate, and I knew it was going to be high, was 157 with a max of 174. And this is mostly because of that freaking uphill. So the uphill just kept me consistently in a high heart rate. Thanks, honey. I have this awesome open face sandwich that my beautiful wife just brought. And then, so the average heart rate for, let's see, in zone 1, we spent 10 minutes in zone 1, and that's usually our warm up, getting the heart moving. Zone 2, we spent 23 minutes and 30 seconds. Zone 3, so that was zone 2, 23 minutes. That was 39% of the time. And then 39% of the time was zone, wow, that's really close. Zone 3, 23 minutes and 46 seconds. And then we only spent about a minute or so in zone 4. Awesome. I thought I definitely spent more time in zone 4, but I guess my breathing. So that's one of the things is, as I start my run, the first mile, I'm breathing in these random like patterns where I'm trying to fill as much air as possible, obviously without throwing off my rhythm or run pace or cadence, so that you're not like hyperventilating and sucking air that you shouldn't be, or overly breathing. So I was breathing in, holding, breathing out, filling, holding, breathing out. And I think prepping the lungs, and I do practice with this Expand-A-Lung device that my buddy Tony gave me, and it does help with getting the lungs ready. So it like forces air in, forces air out, and it allows you to kind of like work your muscles through it. Stella, I have to remind my dog not to start barking, so I have to like get her attention before she goes crazy. Now, average power 347, max power 496, so 347 in the power grids. And then my elevation gain, we gained 551 feet and lost 571 because I did go up that mountain, down the backside of another one, up another one, down another one, and then up a smaller hill, and then down back towards the house. So Thresholds for training effect, we had a full aerobic load, 4.1, nothing anaerobic, which is cool, a total load of 169. And yeah, that was the run for today. I wanted an hour. I think my minimum runs now are going to be an hour, whether we get 6, 7, 8 miles in an hour or 4 miles in an hour. Doesn't matter. My goal time right now is 1 hour of ground time minimum, up to 2 hours. But I think a consistent 1 hour for a little bit. I have 15 weeks for my 75K coming up. And it's a night one. It starts at 5 p.m. and then ends whenever you finish. 3 25K loops, 1 big climb, and then 1 big descent. So it's going to be fun, but I don't know that overtraining is a thing. I'm sure it is, and I probably have done it before, but I don't know that I would overtrain now. I think I know more or less what's more fun, what's more active, where it starts to suck, where I'm running too much. I think I have a stress fracture on the bottom of my foot, on like the outside little bone that balances the outside foot. That's all right. It goes and comes as as training works itself through. So I'm not too concerned about it, but it does ache a little bit. And so I've been supplementing in bike riding, trail riding with the bike, mountain biking. That's been fun. Definitely feel the legs getting stronger. I do want to shred just a little bit more weight, maybe come down from this 180 to a 170, and then that, I think 170 will be a good running. I mean, I'm not very tall for 5'8". I think 170 is a good, solid structure, well built, and then just redefine the muscle structure so that I can continue to run and be more aggressive. So the cool part of the story here is this. I'm wrapping around about 5 miles in, and I'm like, cool, home stretch. I'm speeding. And like I said, and like I write in some of my posts, I don't run with my phone. I think it distracts me. I want to get content, and I want to show this, and I want to take a photo, and I end up stopping more than I would really like. And so I don't take my phone with me. I've said it before, and it was mildly a joke, but it's true. I'll take a sharp stick or a blade, a knife, and the Holy Ghost, right? He protects us wherever we go. So that's all I really need when I'm trail running and I'm getting out after it. And so I don't really need more than that. I don't like taking my phone. Like I said, I used to take it a lot, and then I would stop and like, this is a good piece of content. So now I make content separate from my runs. Unless I really have to just take my phone with me to make sure that I don't die. If I leave too late and it's really hot in Arizona, I will take my phone just in case. But I try to prepare for runs. I don't run if I feel dehydrated, or at least I don't run far. And then I definitely maintain good nutrition, things that all of us should be doing. So the cool part of the story, as I'm coming around on a 4 mile bend, there's a shadowy section where there's a wash. And luckily the wash, it's made of like really fine gravel and sand and some rocks, tons of debris. There's small grass there, like yellow grass that's dying right now, and then it'll become green later. But there's a lot of different like distinguishing little features. The main feature that helped me out today with this rattlesnake was mountain bikes cut through that wash, so they leave like perfect straight lines, which are harder to find in nature than not. So there's these straight lines cut through the wash, and I'm running, and I look out about 10-15 feet sometimes. If depending how technical the trail is, I'll definitely look more closely. But if I'm looking out 10-15 yards or 10-15 feet, I'm looking and I'm moving, and I see the straight lines, and through these straight lines I see something cut across horizontally, and I'm like, well, that doesn't look normal, and it's elongated, so it could be a stick. I slow down as I look to the stick. I try to just like scan across to see what it was, because I'm looking at these straight bike lines, and then like I said, something's cutting it, it's bisecting it, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh shit, I see the black and white markers and then the rattle, and I was like, all right, I better slow down. So I stop, I pause, I sit there, and this beautiful, I believe it's an Arizona black rattlesnake. I think that's what they're called. But it's got dark markings, it's got a black tongue, it's got a black-white stripe pattern on the tail, and then it has the rattle. And the few times that I was able to count the rattle, it was between, for sure I got to 10, and then it would shift its rattle or rattle at me, but maybe 10 to 15 rattles, so it wasn't a small little dude, it was a nice chunk, nice size one. It was probably like the span of my arm, and fairly thick too, nice big meaty head, and a big large black tongue that he kept patterning to see what was in front of him. So what was really cool about this is It sets itself up, it coils up in a position to fight, and it's a predator thing, but it's a strategy as well. And we know this with combat and strategic land warfare, is it positioned itself so that the sun was behind it, almost forcing me to be in the sun while he was this way and the sun was at its back. So I was like, oh, that's pretty freaking clever. That's what you would want, right? You would want your opponent to be blinded by the sun. And so I stand there and I'm like, all right, you little shit, that was cool. So I get really big and he gets really big in his coil. So he postures up. And then I get really low. So I get into like a little Haji squat, right? A little third world squat. And I'm looking at him and his coil comes back down. So he comes down to my level, kind of like where I am, the best that he can, right? He's obviously not going to go 5 feet tall, but he comes down to where he's more like where my head might be. And then he's just hanging out. And then I stand up again. And then he stands up with me, or gets up a little bit taller than he was before. And then he comes back down, I come down again. I'm like, these things are freaking rad. So I spent about 5 or 6 minutes just observing it, playing with it, at a safe distance, obviously, and then just trying to see what it would do and to see if it was aggressive at all. And my whole goal was to see if he would just decide, hey, I need to be the forward pressure, or the thing that adds the forward pressure here. And it didn't. It didn't come forward. It wasn't overly aggressive. It held its ground, and it only rattled at me when I got closer than it wanted me to. So I'm guessing if we come up on these things and they have time to posture and let us know they don't want any trouble, then they don't want any trouble. This is about, for the last 5 runs, the 4th snake that I've seen on a run. And they haven't, other than the one that lunged at me because I ran past it and I had to jump over it. I was just going too fast and I wasn't paying attention to the trail. This one, I wanted to observe it and I wanted to see its behavior. And so after I did the highs, lows, I turned and I forced it to coil in the opposite direction. So he didn't really have a long strike. And I could tell he didn't like it. And as I was setting myself up, I took slightly higher ground and I put the sun behind my back, so the sun's coming this way and it's forcing the snake to be looking into the sun and into me, but I didn't put it in my shadow, so I didn't block the sun with my shadow. I left the sun glaring right at its face, and that's where I got low and I just observed its mouth and its tongue pattern. So the tongue comes out really quickly down and it's forked, and then it goes up. It does what it does up here. It goes down one more time and then inside. It comes up, it comes out, down, up, holds, and then down, holds, and then goes in. And that's the pattern that it did the whole time that it was doing its tongue motions. Out, up, down, back. Out, up, down, back. And it had like this super slithery, wet looking tongue, and it was just like pulling it back, right? And I believe they have heat sensors in their nostrils, and they do something with the environment with their tongue. I'm gonna do more research because I think that was pretty cool. So it was just the whole time it was just sizing me up, and it was kind of pissed off that I wouldn't leave. And then I came back around the other way, and it coiled back around the other way. And then finally I pulled back and I just said, later, little dude, and I took off and I continued my run. So kept moving, kept running, hit a cool little mountain, and I stopped for a second. I overlooked all of the terrain that I'm traveling and running across, and have the ability to put foot to ground and spend time out there. And it was semi-spiritual, man, and it was really cool, because as I'm up there, I'm super grateful, right? And I send a prayer out to the Almighty, and I was like, Father, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I know that I am not worthy of your kingdom, your heavenly kingdom, so I'm grateful for the time that I have here. And I started fucking weeping, and it's hilarious. I came home and it felt amazing. I'm running down this hill as fast as I can, just freaking sobbing, beyond grateful, excited to come home. And as I come home, I see the fence line. My beautiful wife is sitting there with my little guy, and he's playing in the pool. And it's an overwhelming feeling to be a strong man, to be alive, to be willing to do hard things. And I'm just grateful for this opportunity, grateful to the Almighty, and grateful to you guys for being a part of this journey. I hope you guys have as much fun as I do trail running and talking about it. And yeah, know that I'm here for you if you need anything. Later.